Hello, my dear students. In our previous session, we understood what are intermolecular forces. These intermolecular forces are responsible for a state of matter. In what state a matter is. So, depend upon what kind of intermolecular forces a matter will exist in a particular state. So, about this we were discussing. So, in the intermolecular forces, there are two types. One is intermolecular attractive forces and intermolecular repulsive forces. Here at present, we don't discuss about intermolecular repulsive forces in detail. We have to discuss and we have to understand only intermolecular attractive forces, which are also known as van der Waals forces of attraction. And these intermolecular forces or van der Waals forces of attraction not includes three forces. One is what? Electrostatic force of attraction, and the second one is ion dipole interactions, and the third one is covalent forces. That means wherever strong force is required to go for the chemical bond, those forces are not called as van der Waals forces. Only forces when molecules approach each other, when atoms approach each other, only those forces which are weak, they are called as van der Waals forces. That means those three which I told, electrostatic force of attraction and ion dipole interactions, then covalent bond forces. Those three forces are very strong, therefore they are not called as van der Waals force of attraction, because van der Waals force of attractions are very weak. Okay, right. And we learned in our previous session three types of intermolecular forces. One is dispersion forces, also known as London forces. They normally found either in atoms or non-polar molecules. Okay, so when both are non-polar, when both are atoms, when they approach the time, automatically, instantaneously, forces start operating due to the formation of the two poles. And here, an important point is interaction energy is inversely proportional to the sixth power of distance. That means interaction energy is proportional to the 1 by r to the power 6. That means these forces start operating at a short distance. Okay, right. And second was dipole forces. These forces we find between two polar. Both are polar. Both are having dipoles. Okay. So when one is having dipole, they attract the opposite pole of the other dipole, and these are stronger than the what London forces. Okay, that's why their interaction energy is proportional to the third power of distance of separation. That means London forces start operating at a short distance, but here, because of both are polar, both have dipoles, no, so even from a long distance when they approach, they start operating. That means these forces are stronger. Okay, right. And the third was dipole induced dipole forces. One is having dipole, other one is not having a dipole. It is not a polar at all. It is non-polar. That time when they approach, they start operating. That means dipole will induce the dipoles in the non-polar. Okay. So because out of the two, one is non-polar, these forces are also not so strong compared to the dipole forces. That's why in this case also interaction energy is inversely proportional to the sixth power of radius of the distance. Okay, right. So now in today's session, we will discuss one more small important topic known as thermal energy, which is responsible for the gaseous state of matter, especially. Okay, so I welcome you all for today's session on thermal energy. What is thermal energy? Thermal means heat, thermometer, thermodynamics, thermostat, thermochemistry. So therm stands for heat. Okay. So thermal energy is a heat made when molecules move. That means thermal energy is straight away related to the movement of the molecules. Okay. So in short, it is the energy of a body arising from motion of its particles. It is directly proportional to the temperature of the body. That means more the temperature, more is the thermal energy. Thermal energy is the measure of average kinetic energy of the particles of the matter. That means in a particular matter, how many particles are there, their kinetic energy. So some are moving with some speed, some with a high speed, some with a low speed, some with moderate speed. So it is the average. It is the average kinetic energy of the particles of the matter. That is nothing but what? Thermal energy. And it is responsible for, just now I told, it is responsible for a movement of particles which is known as thermal motion. Okay, right. Once again, he has said the same thing. The total of all kinetic and potential energy, when thermal energy of a substance increases, its particle move faster. Okay, directly proportional. A change in thermal energy can lead to a change in the phase, change in the state. Earlier, water was in the solid state. Due to the change in the thermal energy, due to the increase in the thermal energy, now it has become normal water. Again, if you increase the thermal energy, motion of the particles increases, thereby they convert into gaseous state. So water particles, water molecules are formed, so they escape. So that is a change in thermal energy can lead to change in the phase. Now see, this is once again understanding about the thermal energy. This is system number one, system number two. Okay, higher temperature, okay, lower temperature. So now when the moves, this is called heat. Whenever energy transfers or moves from a system at higher temperature to a system at a lower temperature, that is called as what? Heat. So he has said the arrow represents heat. Thermal energy is kinetic energy contained inside the system. Heat is energy leaving the system. Very clear definition. Heat is energy leaving the system, whereas thermal energy is what? Is kinetic energy contained inside the system. So though both look same, there is a clear cut demarcation, there is a clear cut difference between thermal energy and the heat. Okay, now difference between heat and temperature. Heat is a form of energy, just now we concluded. What is temperature? It is a degree of hotness. How much hot it is, how much cold it is. That is called temperature. Okay. This already you learnt in the lower class, maybe in the physics. Okay. Yeah. So to measure the temperature, we use thermometer. It is a measuring tool for heat. Okay. Right. Now, there is a relation between intermolecular forces and thermal interactions. Thermal energy is the energy of a body arising from motion of its atoms or molecules. Just now I said. Three states of matter are the result of balance between intermolecular forces and the thermal energy of the molecules. So the three states of matter, that is solid state, liquid state and the gaseous state, is because of the intermolecular forces due to the thermal energy of the molecules. When thermal energy of molecules is reduced by lowering the temperature, the gases can be very easily liquefied. That means whenever thermal energy of the molecules is decreased by lowering the temperature, by decreasing temperature, that means you are allowing gases to cool, going to the water, less energy. That is, you are converting gas into the liquid, liquid into the solid. Okay, right. Now this is the arrow mark which will tell the relation between thermal energy and the intermolecular forces. So if you move from solid to liquid to gas, thermal energy what? Increases. That means gaseous state of matter contains more thermal energy. Okay. And if you think in terms of intermolecular forces from gas to liquid, liquid to the solid, it is in the decreasing order. In the gas, intermolecular force is very less, therefore they are free to move. Whereas in the liquid it is moderate, whereas in the solid intermolecular force is very less, therefore they are very closely, very strong. Sorry, very strong. So compact structure is there. So thermal energy and intermolecular forces, they go in the reverse direction. Now, among all the three states of matter, we don't learn about the solid state and we don't learn about the liquid state. We only confine our discussion on the gaseous state of matter. Okay, right. So in this state, the particles have sufficient energy to overcome all forces that attract them to each other, therefore they are free to move. Each particle is completely separated from the others. That means one particle is free from the other particle. There is no force of attraction. That's why they keep expanding, they keep moving, they keep diffusing. This results in low densities, and the fact that gases completely fill the container that holds them. Just now we discussed. Now here is a definition of gaseous state of matter. It is one of the three states of matter in which the intermolecular forces of attraction are weak. It is the simplest state of matter. Okay, so this is the clear-cut definition for gaseous state of matter. Now please here, on the modern periodic table, we have only two examples for gases, starting from hydrogen, okay, helium, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon, chlorine, argon, krypton, xenon, and the radon. Okay, so solids are far more, gases are less, liquids are very less. So only bromine and the mercury we will have in the liquid state at room temperature on the modern periodic table. Otherwise, maximum are solids and a few are gases and very few are liquids. Okay, and here are on the right side you will find some properties, some characteristics of gases. Okay, although gases have different chemical properties, gases have remarkably similar physical properties. For example, methane chemical property differs from the carbon dioxide, but physically both will move, both expand, both take the shape of the container. Okay, both they don't have the shape, but chemically they are different. So though they are different chemically, but physically they are somewhat same. What are those? Gases always fill their container, they keep moving. So that's why he says no definite shape and the volume. They keep expanding. Gases are highly compressible. Volume decreases as pressure increases, or volume increases as pressure decreases. Okay, because we have a lot of gap between the particles of a gas, therefore gases are highly compressible. Gases diffuse. Okay, if you put one incense stick, agarbatti, at one particular corner of a room, immediately after a few seconds we get its fragrance on the other part of the hall of a room. That shows that gases diffuse very fastly. Temperature affects either the volume or the pressure or both. So temperature may increase, decrease, or pressure may increase, decrease. Okay, because of what? Temperature. That means temperature has got effect on volume and the pressure independently, or sometimes both are considered. So today what we learnt? We learnt in what way thermal energy is related to the intermolecular force of attraction, and especially in the gaseous state, what are the roles? So all these points we learned, and in tomorrow's session we are going to discuss what gases are governed by some laws, okay, under some conditions. Therefore, so those laws we'll discuss tomorrow. Till then, have a nice time and bye. Thank you and all.